Okay, picture this. Any school hallway, any classroom. You've got your usual scene, right? The loud groups, the little circles of gossip, and then you see them. You know exactly who I'm talking about. They're the one walking between classes by themselves, maybe eating lunch alone with a book or some headphones. They don't really have a big, loud squad. They just seem to move in their own orbit. And, our first instinct, the story we tell ourselves is, oh, that's kind of sad. They must be lonely, maybe they're depressed, or just don't like people. But what if I told you that entire assumption is completely backward? What if what we see as a weakness is actually their greatest, most profound strength? Yeah, that's the big twist here. They aren't disconnected, they're just concentrating. While almost everyone else is burning through their energy just trying to fit in, they're channeling all of that power inward. So right now, we're going to decode exactly how their solitude becomes a legitimate superpower. So let's dive into their first, and maybe most important, psychological advantage. It really all starts with where they get their sense of self-worth. See, these students operate with something called an internal locus of evaluation. Now, that's a pretty fancy term, but it boils down to a super simple idea. They are their own judge. Their value isn't tied to how many likes they get or if they're invited to the party. It comes from inside. Think about it. Most of us are constantly looking outside for approval. Our brains are buzzing with questions like, did people think that was funny? How many views did my story get? The internally validated student, though, they're asking a totally different set of questions. Things like, am I proud of what I just did? Does this actually get me closer to my goals? Their happiness isn't this fragile thing that someone else can take away. So how does this actually play out day to day? Well, they've pretty much hacked the whole social system. They're not posting selfies just to fish for compliments. When they do speak up, it's because they have something of value to say, not just to sound smart. And this is a big one. Their time is way too valuable to just hang out and kill time. Every move is just more intentional. And this quote just hits the nail on the head. It clears up a huge misunderstanding. This isn't about being antisocial. It's about being selectively social. They choose their interactions with care because they understand that their inner peace, their focus, is a luxury item. It's a valuable resource you don't just give away to anyone. Okay, on to the second superpower. This one builds directly on the first, and it's all about mental energy. Or you can think of it as your brain's processing power. Every little social interaction, every bit of gossip you listen to, every second you spend worrying about what you're going to wear or what people think of you, that's what we call social overhead. Seriously, think of it like all those apps running in the background on your phone or computer. Each one is draining your battery, using up your RAM, and just slowing the whole system down. It's exhausting. And when you look at it like this, the difference is staggering. The student who's constantly tangled up in all that social overhead, they end the day mentally drained with maybe half their energy left. But the solitary student, they've got almost a full tank, ready to pour all that energy into what really matters to them. So where does all that extra brain power actually go? Well, while the social brain is busy trying to decode a one-word text message or coordinate plans for the weekend, the focused brain is doing deep work. It's actually visualizing complex physics problems. It's learning a new language. It's getting into that incredible flow state where time just disappears and you're at your most creative and productive. Let me put it another way, maybe in gaming terms. Their brain is running at 4 times the speed because they aren't wasting precious RAM on the NPCs, the non-player characters. They're locked in on the main quest, not the side quests that go nowhere. And this all leads us to the third and honestly, maybe the most liberating superpower of them all. This is about being completely immune to one of the biggest sources of anxiety in our modern world. So, there's this thing called social comparison theory. It basically says we're all hardwired to look at other people to figure out how we're doing. He got a better score. She has more followers. Their vacation looks amazing. It's a game you literally can never win, and it's an absolute killer of happiness. But here's the ultimate hack. The student who walks alone, they've basically unplugged from this whole system. They've taken the red pill, if you will. Because they're not looking for the group's approval in the first place. They just don't feel that constant crushing pressure to measure up to everyone else. This creates this incredible mindset shift. They trade in FOMO, that nagging fear of missing out, for JOMO, the joy of missing out. They genuinely find peace and get real work done in those quiet moments that everyone else is scrambling to fill with noise. And this gives them such a huge advantage. Their only real competition is the person they were yesterday. They're immune to peer pressure because they're not even playing the same game. And they get this critical rule of life. Privacy is power. The less people know about what you're building, the less they can get in your way. All right, so what's the bottom line here? What does all this actually mean for you? Let's bring it all home. Now, let me be perfectly clear. The message here is not to go abandon your friends and become a total hermit. Of course not. Humans are social creatures. We need connection. The real goal is to build up your self-sufficiency, to be so comfortable and so confident in your own skin that you can walk alone when it's time to focus on building your future. So the next time you see that student sitting by themselves, I want you to completely flip your perspective. Don't feel sorry for them. See them. Their silence isn't weakness. It is an emptiness. It's fullness. They are full of their own ideas, their own goals, their own world. And hey, if you're listening to this and it's hitting home, if you're that person who genuinely likes your own company, then own it. Be proud of that. In a world that's so terrified of being quiet and being alone, what you have is incredibly rare, and it's incredibly powerful. So the question really is, are you ready to stop looking at this quality as some kind of flaw and start seeing it for what it truly is? A strategic advantage, a genuine superpower. If you get this, if you understand deep down that you don't need a crowd to feel whole, then I want you to make a declaration right now. Comment below with just these 3 words. I am complete. Affirm to yourself that your validation, your worth, comes from within.